Okay, so let's continue here in the Gemara in Moed Katan. We're up to Yud Aleph Amud Beis. We have a very small piece of the Gemara over here until we finish the page, and then we're going to actually start a new subject matter after that. So let's just finish up. We're up to over here. Marion Berei de Rovin. It's interesting. I found that this story actually, this Talmud lesson, this Talmud story has actually a great lesson as well. In in interpersonal relationships, and sometimes people want to be very religious, but then being too religious, sometimes they want to do, but they end up hurting somebody else. Here we have an interesting story in the Gemara. So what happened? So we have Morion Berei Derovin. The person's name was Morion. He was the son of Rovin. Umar, and then there was Mar, and he was Berei de Ravacha. He was Ravacha's son, and this Ravacha was Berei de Rava, son of Rav. And what they did, they had a partnership. Havelei hahu kamlo de Tura bahadi adodi. They had a partnership that they had a pair of oxen, a pair of bulls, and that they used to rent out for people to plow, to pull the plow. So you had a double, I guess they used to use two oxen, put them together. That's called a tzemed bakar. Zakt Rashi, Gamlo is a tzemed bakar, a pair of this cows, bein shneim, between the two of them, which means shoir echad lozeh, v'shoir echad lozeh. One owed one ox, and the other one owed the other ox, and they would hire it out to rent, and they would do work, and they would split the profit between the two of them for the rental that they rented out. So the Gemara says, Isra Bey Mazla. So they ran out of luck. But this running out of luck refers to somebody died in the family and he became a mourner. That was Mar Isre be Milso be Mar Berei de Rav Acha Berei de Rav. So a mourning happened to this Mar, who was the son of Rav Acha, who was the son of Rav. So what does it mean something bad happened? Isra be Milso. So Rashi says it means Avelus, a mourning. He became a mourner. Now we know that a mourner is not allowed to do any work. He's not allowed to do any work. So, therefore, opaske legamre. So he split his ox from the pair. They had a tzemed where the two oxen go together. He took out his ox, and he did not send the ox. Rashi said, Paske legamre, hifsik shoyre min hat tzemed. He split his ox from the pair. He didn't send him to plow the field. And the reason he did so, Lefi shahoya ovel umitsuva al shvisas behemte midrabona. Since he was a mourner, and he was therefore commanded on his animal resting, because a mourner is not allowed to do business during the time of mourning. So because of that, he didn't send that ox to go to work when he became a mourner. So Omar Rav Ashi. So Rav Ashi said he didn't like what he did. Because why? So Rav Ashi says, because what happens is, if he's not going to send his ox, the other one, Marion Bereid Rovin, will also not be able to rent out because they worked as a pair. Apparently, he wasn't able to get another ox. So it turns out that it's going to be a loss for this Marion, the fact that he took out his ox from the pair. So therefore, Rav Ashi says, Gavro Rabo Kimar Bereit Rabacho Ovid Hochi, such a great man like Mar, the son of Rabacha, will do something like that. Nihid Lipseda Didei Loichaish. Let it be that he is not worried about his own loss because he's losing out the rental for the time of the morning that he doesn't send the ox. So he's not worried. That's his availus. He's not worried. Rashi says, she doesn't care about his loss. The loika ma'abed aro megamli, that he is not making the land, they're not plowing the land from this tzemet, from this pier, from the Ovilhu, because he's a mourner. But ad acherim leichaish, is he not worried about the others? Why didn't he care? But if you're not going to send your ox, the Marion is going to lose out too. Let's see, Rashi says. The Pseida Dacharina, the loss of the others, can go in Marion, like this Marion, Loi Chayish, he didn't care about. The Loi Komashder Legamle, because he will not send the pair, Havile Pseida, then he has a loss. The Loi Havile Behemo Lachrish. He doesn't have an animal to plow with because he's taken away the pair. Can't work one ox by himself. The kiv on the shori, but since it is permissible in a case, Kidatanya, because this is permissible even during morning. We learned Kidatanya. We learned in the Braise, Im hoyu muchkorim, if they were rented out, and this would cause a loss, then you're allowed to. So technically, even Mar was allowed to send his ox, but he doesn't care. He wants to be religious. But he should worry about the loss of his friend. He should worry about his friend's loss. And the Gemara brings the proof that if somebody else, if they're rented out, then you're allowed to work during morning. But Tanya, but didn't we learn in Abraisa, Im hoyu, the Abraisa says, Im hoyu muskorim, or muchkorim, if they were rented out, or they were muchkorim. Before we learned the difference, how the rental works or the chakira works. But in any event, when it's sort of doing work for other people, so we said before that they can go ahead and continue to work. So it turns out that if there is a loss, the person, that's if here we're talking about the people themselves, the oval himself was hired out, but also the animal, if they were supposed to do and there's a loss, so they're allowed to do. So how come he didn't want to go? Why didn't he care that he's actually bringing a loss to somebody else? So in other words, being religious on somebody else's cheshbon, because you're gonna not work with the guy is going to lose. So the Gemara says, "V'hu shavar." What was his idea? That's Marberei Dravacha. What did he think? He says, "Odom choshuv shani." He says a person who is an important person, like him, this is also asur. He's not allowed to do, whether it's for himself or from somebody else. In both cases, you're not allowed to do, because an important person is not allowed to do this. So that we allowed before to rent yourself out and rent the behemoth. I think the hovahod maybe means the person and the animal, or his own work or other works. I think hovahod is referring to whether yourself or the animal, you're not allowed to do so, because there is a special law, because we're talking about a person that is important. Okay, let's turn the page, and we're going to do 12a. Yud Beis Amud Aleph. Omar Shmuel, says Shmuel. And here's going to talk about, it's also applicable to laws today. You know, sometimes we would allow, in certain circumstances, for a goy to do work for you. So if a goy is hired for the job as a contractor, let's say, and he has to do the whole job, and he can do it on Shabbos, he can do it on Sunday, even Shabbos we'll talk about, and then we'll get to Chol Moed. But the fact that he's doing it for the job, he accepted upon the job, so he is not really working for the Jew on Shabbos, which is not allowed. He's working for himself because he wants to get his money, and he chooses what's more comfortable for him. But there is a problem with doing work in a place where there is other Yidden, because other Yidden may not know that he's a Kabbalah. They may think that the Yid is telling him to do the work on Shabbos. So it makes a difference. So let's say he asked the contractor, the goy, to build him a house. Now, from the point that he pays the goy and he pays the contractor builds the house for him. So we say, depending where the house is being built, if the house is being built within the Tchum Shabbos, which means the people that keep the Shabbos cannot get to see the goyim build it, then you're okay. But if it's outside, inside the Tchum, then it's not okay. Let's look inside. Omar Shmuel, says Shmuel, Mekable Kibolis, they accept the job, as opposed to being hired for the day or for the job for here. Here they accept the whole job. To finish the job, build you a house. So there is a difference. Asur, if the job is inside of the tchum, it's prohibited. Chutz l'tchum, outside of the tchum, it's mutar, it is permissible. Let's do the Rashi. Mikable kaboilas b'toich tchum asur. Those who accept the job, and for the contractor accepting the job, if it's within the tchum, it is prohibited. Rashi explains, Liten melochi melocha lenochvi the Kabbalist, to give the work, the job, to the non-Jew to accept to finish the job. Ki avdi lei b'Shabbato, if they're going to work on Shabbos. You can't give him the job if he's going to work on Shabbos. Why? Because since it's within the Tchum, so everybody sees it, the Yadi Kula Alma, everybody knows because everybody walks there on Shabbos. There's Yidden there on Shabbos. The Amri, and they will say, Hayoim b'Shabbos, today, on Shabbos, he gave him the job. A lot of give him the job on Shabbos. Rashi says, but we see that Beis Hillel, and that's the halacha in the first chapter in the Gemara Shabbos and Yud Zayin on the base, he allows liten kelim lechoivis b'erev Shabbos im chashecha. He allows you to give your clothing to the launderer, to the laundromat, or the person washing your clothes. You can give it on Friday as it's getting dark, meaning late on Friday, im chashecha. Even within the tchum, he allows it. So how come we're allowed over there? And the answer is, it's not because the goy is not allowed to do the work, it's because what it looks to the people. But the clothing that you give to the goy on Erev Shabbos, even though it's here, nobody knows it's your clothes. Mishum de kvisa ben nochri midid leimimkar. Washing, when the goy washes it, it's a matter that is not recognizable. You're not building a house of a Jew. He's doing laundry, so you don't know he's doing the Jewish laundry, other laundry. It's not recognizable. And therefore there's no suspicion. But things that you could tell, you can tell who's working for. Like, for example, he's building him a house. If you build it in the place where people are, they'll say you gave it to him to do it on Shabbos. Or if it's something that you can tell that it's work for a Jew, inside the tchum, it's prohibited because of a suspicion. People will think that you asked him to do it on Shabbos. The truth is you didn't ask him. But because of the maris ayin, the chashad, you're not allowed to. But chutz l'tchum, but it's outside of the tchum Shabbos, where there's no people there, then it's mutar, then it's permissible. Now, he's saying that sometimes you may not be within the tchum. You may not be in the boundary. In other words, the place that you live, you can't get there for Shabbos. Same thing, the other people can't get there for Shabbos. But what happens, there's another city in which the people from the other city can get there on Shabbos. That would still, it's not only that your people should not be able to get there on Shabbos, even the people from the other city should also not get on Shabbos. So this is what Rav Papa stipulates further. Omar Rav Papa says, Rav Papa, even if the work you're giving to the goy is outside of the tchum, the boundaries of this city, from Shabbos, lo yamorim, we did not allow this, we didn't say this, elo de leko moso de mekar v'lahosam, only in a situation where there is no city that is close to that place. But there's another city which is close to the place where the guy is doing the work. Also, it's still prohibited. Rashi, we see Rashi says, if there's another city which is close to there, those non-Jewish workers are prohibited. Why? The Inhu Yadi, because the people from the other city know the Hani Nochrim Avdilei Melocha are doing a Melocha for him. The Amri, and they will say B'Shabbat Yod, we gave it to them on Shabbos. So basically, even though he is not in the Tchum, but the other people that are there, they're going to say that he gave it to him on Shabbos, and therefore it's Asur. Again, what is it, Asur, Rashi? The Amri, because that what they will say, Hayoim Yohavulei, today they gave it to him. What does it mean today? I mean, if he couldn't get it, so why does Rashi say the language over here? I'm a little struggling. Rashi says Hayoim, they gave to him, not, in other words, the workers gave it to the owner. See, before we say Yohav Luhu, I'm not sure. Rashi changes around. Rashi just says V'amri b'Shabbata Yohav Luhu, and I don't know how was he giving them on Shabbos if he's not, he doesn't live there. But maybe they're not going to know Tchum Shabbos. But then we're saying Asur the Amri Hayoim Yohav Ulei. She doesn't say anymore b'Shabbato. Says Hayoim Yohav Ulei. I think this Rashi goes further down. Yeah, I'm sorry, my mistake. That Rashi doesn't belong over here. That belongs over here. Okay, I put it in the wrong place. Okay, so this has to do, just like we said before, that they will claim that he gave them on Shabbos. Oh, Marab Misharshio. The Misharshi goes further. Even if there is no city which is close to there, Nami loy amoron, we also don't say that it's okay only on Shabbos and Yom Tov, because there's no way the person can get to that spot. The loishkichi inshi the azli lahosam. It's not common for people to go there, so they won't see that there is work being done. But when we're talking about Chodesh Moed, since on the middle days, the intermediate days in the Yontif, so there you're allowed to travel. So it's common for people to travel there. Osur, then it's prohibited. Why? The Amri Hayom Yoveli, they're going to say today on Chodesh HaMoed is when he gave it to them. That's why it's not allowed. The Gemara relates now that Marzutra Berei Rav Nachman, Marzutra, the son of Rav Nachman, Bonu le apadna mekabli kiboilus chutz l'tchum. They built for him an apadna, a structure, people that contracted for the job, and it was outside of the tchum. And the Gemara says, Iklo Rab Safra of Rab Huna bar Chineno. So they came, the rabbis, Rab Safra Rab Huna bar Chineno came there, and they did not go up by him into the Rapadna. The Iko the Amri, and others say, Hunami lo begave. He himself did not go into that Rapadna that they built. Apparently, he didn't tell them. He didn't want them to do it. They did it on their own. Frag the Gemara, Amar Shmuel, but didn't Shmuel say that Mekabli Kiboilis, that those who accept the job, he says, B'toichatchum Osur. If it's inside of the boundary, it's Osur. Chutz l'tchum mutter. But if it's outside of the boundary, outside of the Tchum Shabbos, it's permissible. So why was he strict on himself? Why didn't they go up? But it seems like that should be okay because it was outside of the Tchum. So why did they have a problem with going into the Apadna? And the Gemara says, Odom Choshuv Shiny. An important person is different. He should not even go in, even if the building is outside of the Tchum. And the Ikud Amri, and there's another answer that Siyu Saye B'Tifno Ba'adai. That not only did he just tell them to do it, but he actually helped them by giving them the straw that they needed, I guess, for the mortar. So he helped them. And Rashi says, Siyu Haben Messiah B'Tivno. He would help with the straw. So you're nice and lahem taven the malacha. He would give them the straw for the work. So they weren't totally accepted the job. He used to be part of it. The hoyul v'hu misayeh v'hadayu also. Since he is helping them together with them, then it's going to be us. The Gemara relates further. Rabbi Chaim Wolosow la'abungari de Beidesh Galusa. Those were people that used to set up the tables. Rashi says Abu Gan Giri. Abu Gan, in Rashi it's Abu Gan Giri or Abungari. That's Misadre Shulchonis. They set up the tables. He allowed the Abungari of Reish Galuso, of the head of the exile, Lemevid Luhu Avidito B'choyle de Moed, to do for him, for Rav Chomo, work on Choyle Moed. What kind of work did they need to do? If the table breaks, so they can fix it. That's what he says. Lemevid Aviditayu. Im Nishbar HaShulchan Shori L'Sakmai. The table is broken, then it's permitted to fix it. He allowed it. Why? What was his explanation? Omar, he said. So these were people of the Reish Galusa, but they didn't charge for it. Omar, he says, Kivon the Agar Loiko Shakli. They don't really take money. It's just a profit that they give them. Rashi explains what does it mean, sharshuya? They just make the profit because they get the meal, they get the food. To ko'achli bahadayu. They eat with him, so therefore, it's not really a job. So that's not considered a job. And that's why he would allow for them to do the work. But the Gemara says, we don't go by it. And any profit, that should not be allowed to be done on Kalamayid either. Then we have next brisa. So the Gemara Toner Rabban says, we learned in the brisa, Mikablim kiboiles b'moyed la'soisul achar hamoyed. So you can accept the contract on Yontiv, and this is on Cholamoyed, la'soisul achar hamoyed, so that the work will be done after Yontiv. Mekabling kiboilus, noisno lenochim la'asoisa achar hamoed. You can give on Chol Hamoed the work that he should do it after Chol Hamoed. But ubemoyed, but on Yom Tov itself, also. Hamoed, they can't do it. You can give it to the goy to do after Chol Hamoed, but not on Chol Hamoed. And he says, the rule is, Klolu shel davar. The rule of this matter is, the principle is, Kol shehu oiser, oimer lenochri v'oiser. Anything that he can do, he's allowed to do. On Chol Hamoed, you can tell the goy to do. The Kol she'eina oiser, if you're not allowed to do it yourself, eina oimer lenochri v'oiser, you can't tell the goy to do it. Okay, so that means that you're not allowed to even tell the goy to do work on Chol Hamoed. Tanya Idoch, we learned in another brayso. Mekabling kiboiles b'moyed la'asoisa la'achar hamoyed. You can accept the job. I give the goy the job on Chol Hamoed for him to do it la'asoisa after Yom Tov, la'achar hamoyed after Yom Tov. Ubilvad, but the condition is that while you're giving it to him, shelo yimdod, not to measure, v'shelo yishkol, not to weigh, v'shelo yimne, not to count, k'derech she'oisa b'chol, like he does in the weekday. I guess even the deal that you do, you should not do the measuring and the weighing and the counting as you do in a weekday. Okay. So we learned in a brayso that ein marbim behema b'chodesh shel moed. So marbim behema means to mate the animal on chodesh shel moed. Ein marbim behema zok Rashi mishum David melacha b'chodesh shel moed, because you're doing work on Chol Hamoed. What does it mean, mate? Ein marbim. How do you do that? Rashi says, "Ein oizim habehema." You don't hold down the animal, umevin oleh zocher, and then you bring a male on the animal. A similar halacha we learned. Ein marbin bebechoir. You cannot hold on if it's a firstborn, and you're not allowed to do work with a firstborn. So if you are mating it and it's a firstborn, that's called working with it, and you're not allowed to be the COVID be melacha, because he's doing work with the b'choir by mating it. Uksiv, the pasuk says le'sabed b'choir sheirecha, not to work with the firstborn of the oxen. The same thing is also v'loi b'psulei hamukadoshim, those who have become disqualified from kodesh, which you're also not allowed to work with them. So you can't be marbia either. Tanya idoch, we learned in another brayso, ein marbin behema b'chayla shamoyed, that you don't marbia the behema b'chayla shamoyed, as we had said before. Rabbi Yehuda says, chamoira, a female donkey, shetova, that is demanding, marbin oleho zachar, then you are allowed to bring the male on her, bishvil shaloi titztanen, so that she does not cool off. Yeah, I guess it's going to be a loss. She's not going to do it later, so that's where you're allowed. Ushar kola behemoths, but other animals, I guess, where you're not worried that they're going to cool down, machnisin oison labakoresh. You can bring him on to the stables In the Bekoida Zoktrashi Mokim Shiesham Behemus, so a place where there is Behemus, and then she mates on its own. So then it's not your job. So then that's okay. Another thing the Mishnah, the Brisa talks about now, they used to fertilize the fields by bringing an animal into the field so that it does its things there, and then you fertilize the field. We learned in the Brisa. Ein medayirin. Medayirin means Rashi. What it means is machnisim behemo l'sodeh. You bring the animal into the field, so that they put out this zevel, and then you fertilize the field. So you can't do it loy b'Shabbos, it's not on Shabbos, v'loy b'yom tovim, not on Yom Tov, v'loy b'chayil shel Moed, and not also on Chol Moed. If on their own, they came to the field and they're doing their thing, mutter, then it's permissible. But ve'ein mesayin oison, you cannot help them. You don't help them to the behemoth to come to the field. If they're non-Jews, ein mesayin lahem lahasiya nimokim l'mokim, we don't help them to move the animal around. You're trying to fertilize the whole place. So you can't support them to move them around from place to place, because if the Zabil Kol HaSodeh, that the whole field should become fertilized, afilu b'boim atzmi, even if they come by themselves. So you can't help the behema or the goyim to help them fertilize. You can't do it, even if they came on their own. Ve'ein moisrim lahem shemer l'nair as soinam. And you can't give them a guard to watch their sheep. So these I'm wondering what it means, the Nochrim Heim. I mean, strangers, they don't know how to go around there. Not, I said in Nochrim Heim, meaning, I think now I'm changing. I think Nochrim means that they're not familiar with this field. They're strangers, so they don't know where to go. So that's what he said before. If they're not familiar, so you don't bring the field. Same thing is, you don't have somebody the nair is soinam. I think the nair means, I think, the same thing to medairim. It means to they're fertilizing the field, so you don't give them a guard so that they should have their sheep do their thing. The nair is Rashi lishmoir. So what are they watching? Going in Nochrim, if they're strangers. That's right. Shabbos. What happens if he hired him for a week? He You hired him for the entire week to fertilize his field. Or Sachir Chodesh, hired him for the month. Sachir Shana, hired him for the year. Sachir Shavur, hired him for the week. But this week means the Shemitah, the entire 7 years, because you see the order, month, year, and 7 years. Mesayin Oison. You know what? I got to take a look over here. I'm making a mistake over here. So we're going to leave it over here today. And I'm going to have to look over this piece over here. And we'll start next week from this place. All right, everyone? I don't know, I still have that over here? Okay.
I'm here. Listen, I like it. It's a good one.
I'll start from Ton Rabbanan. Okay?
Okay. Right there.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to leave it here.
Okay.
I'm just having a hard time shutting it off. I don't even. Oh, no, now I see.
Nothing on the parsha?
Okay, we'll see everybody next week in Mitzvah Shem.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.